Do you like being a gangster?
To me, being a gangster was better than being president of the United States.
I am declaring the United States of America's first war on crime.
What's he done? Everything.
Over the years, Hollywood has produced some of the most compelling and unforgettable gangster films, giving us a glimpse into the lives of these infamous criminals. From their rise to power to their ultimate downfall, these stories have left an indelible mark on cinema. In this video, we delve into the world of real-life gangsters and the captivating cinematic adaptations of their lives. From notorious crime bosses to legendary outlaws, join us as we count down the top 10 movies that brought these criminal masterminds to the silver screen. Later in the countdown, I'll also tell you about a hidden gem of a film based on boxers who turned gangsters. So make sure you watch the video till the end. Now let's dive right in. At number 10 we have Donnie Brasco.
There's a war going on in that mafia family, and that is where Joe is undercover.
Donnie, come here.
A classic crime drama movie from 1997 that's based on the life of Joseph D. Pistone, an FBI agent who goes undercover and infiltrates the mafia in New York. He became a member of the Bonanno crime family in New York City during the 1970s under the alias Donnie Brasco, a jewel thief from Vero Beach, Florida. As Donnie rises through the ranks in the mafia, he realizes that not only is he crossing the line between federal agent and criminal, but also jeopardizing his loved ones. Johnny Depp plays the character of Pistone, aka Brasco, whereas Al Pacino portrays the character of Lefty Ruggiero, an aging enforcer in the Bonanno crime family. Being undercover for 6 years creates family issues for Pistone, as well as mixed feelings for Ruggiero, but he is eventually removed by the FBI before becoming a made man for the Bonannos. Pistone and his family continue to reside in a secret location while using his experience in organized crime to assist international law enforcement and testify in court proceedings. Number 9. Black Mass. Starring Johnny Depp, Dakota Johnson, and Jesse Plemons in key roles, this movie is based on the life of Whitey Bulger, the man who stood just behind Osama bin Laden on the FBI's most wanted list for years. Depp portrays the lead character of this notorious Boston mobster who led the Winter Hill Gang. Bulger was shielded from investigations for years, while allegedly acting as an informant to corrupt FBI agent John Connolly. Joel Edgerton in the film was indicted for 19 murders and found guilty of committing 11. The film follows Bulger's ruthless reign in South Boston, starting in 1975, and was filmed only 2 years after Bulger's arrest, after nearly 20 years as a fugitive. The movie was largely based on the 2001 book by Dick Lair and Gerard O'Neill. When he was alive, Bulger reportedly refused to watch the film when it was released. While serving his sentence, Bulger was beaten to death by inmates on October 30th, 2018, within hours of his arrival at Hazleton. Number 8. The Untouchables.
This man can finger Al Capone. This man could put Capone behind bars.
This real-life inspired gangster movie is based on legendary crime boss Al Capone, who rules Chicago with an iron fist. When the US government banned alcohol during the 1920s, ushering in the era of prohibition, it also laid the foundation for a huge boom in the criminal economy based around illegal liquor. That's when the most infamous gangster of the time, Al Capone, earned millions of dollars from black market booze. However, Eliot Ness, a prohibition agent, and his team attempt to take down Capone's corrupt business, although even his best efforts fail due to widespread corruption within the Windy City's police force. Robert De Niro plays the character of Al Capone, whereas Kevin Costner portrays Agent Eliot Ness in the film. Much of the action in the film is fictional, but with high drama scenes like Sean Connery's operatic death, he won a Best Supporting Actor Oscar for the role. Number 7. American Gangster.
Bribery, extortion,
Integrity, hard work,
murder, racketeering,
family.
The film is loosely based on the criminal career of Frank Lucas, a gangster from LaGrange, North Carolina, who smuggled heroin into the United States from Asia. Denzel Washington flawlessly portrays the character of Lucas. Lucas was in charge of the operation in the capital, and the smuggling methods used in the film are, for the most part, true. However, the film doesn't tell you that Frank Lucas essentially worked for a retired Vietnam Army sergeant named Leslie Ike Atkinson. By 1975, after nearly a decade of rule, Frank Lucas was captured by the New York authorities. His reign was at an end. One of the most maddening elements of this bizarre story is the friendship of Frank Lucas and Richie Roberts. Roberts was a detective who got the confession out of him, but also represented him as a lawyer in court. Surprising, isn't it? Number 6. The Irishman.
Have any moving violations?
No.
Do you drink on the job?
No.
You ever hit anybody?
On a job?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
All right, then. We don't have nothing to worry about.
Based on the best-selling book I Heard You Paint Houses by Charles Brandt, the movie showcases the story based on the true story of none other than Frank Sheeran, aka The Irishman. The movie shows Sheeran's shady voyage through the Philadelphia criminal underground and the Teamsters Union, led by its bold, charismatic boss, Jimmy Hoffa. Robert De Niro plays the character of Sheeran, whereas you'll also see Al Pacino playing Jimmy Hoffa in the movie. Sheeran is at the center of some of the most outrageous crimes of his time and has a hand in a few others, according to that account. He was a leading figure involved in the infiltration of unions by organized crime in the 1960s and 70s. In 1980, he was convicted of labor racketeering and sentenced to 32 years in prison, of which he served 13 years. In all those cases, definitive facts are in short supply. Officially, the two largest crimes shown in the film remain unsolved. One of them is Jimmy Hoffa's mysterious 1975 disappearance, which he confessed shortly before his death in 2003, but yet to be proven. Number 5, Goodfellas.
Hey, Mom, what do you think?
You look like a gangster.
Goodfellas is based on the true story of Henry Hill, his associates, and one of the most daring heists in American history. Scorsese adapted his film from Nicholas Pileggi's 1985 nonfiction book, Wise Guy. The text explains the life of Henry Hill, a known associate of the Lakees crime family, as well as his accomplices Hames Burke and Thomas DeSimone. Hill and his colleagues had been involved in a robbery where he and 11 other organized criminals stole $5.9 million from a storage unit at the John F. Kennedy International Airport in New York City. Ray Liotta plays the character of Henry Hill, whereas Robert De Niro portrays the role of James Burke, who was also a Lucchese crime family associate. The two became close friends and subsequently played a heavy hand in the Lufthansa airport heist in 1978, one of the largest cash robberies in American history at the time. Hill then got involved in several other shady dealings, including drug trafficking and sports fixing. In 1980, Hill was arrested on drug trafficking charges. To get out of trouble, Hill testified against those involved in the Lufthansa heist and was subsequently placed in the Witness Protection Program. Number 4, Legend.
They're getting completely out of control, and the American mafia may also be involved.
What exactly are you doing about it? We're going after the craze.
You won't mind if I fight back, will you?
This is the movie that I mentioned before about boxers turned gangsters. The movie showcases the story of identical twins, Reggie and Ronnie Cray, who were the most feared gangsters in the East End of London in the 1950s. In the early 50s, the brothers started their gang, The Firm, which would shape their criminal activities. Under the Firm umbrella, they were involved in armed robberies, arson, protection rackets, assaults, and murder over close to 2 decades. However, before venturing into the world of crime, both of them had eventful boxing careers. Starting out in the open-air bear pit of the Mile End Arena, they made it all the way to the Royal Albert Hall before turning to crime. Ronnie was considered to be the more aggressive of the two twins, constantly getting into street fights as a teenager. From the start, the pair clashed with any authority, including the army. In March 1969, both Ronnie and Reggie were sentenced to life imprisonment, with a non-parole period of 30 years for 2 counts of murder of George Cornell, a member of the rival gang. At number 3, we have Public Enemies.
Killers.
Play a game, Mr. President. It's called Spin the Dial.
That's your money, mister?
Yes?
We're here for the bank's money, not yours. Put it away.
Based on a true story, this gangster movie traces John Dillinger's life, which has become mythological over the years. From a broken childhood and bank robberies to murder and prison escapes, Dillinger's sheer audacity continues to intrigue the media and the public even today. The film stars Johnny Depp as the notorious bank robber John Dillinger, and it's based on Brian Burroughs' book Public Enemies, America's Greatest Crime Wave, and the Birth of the FBI. The movie also stars Christian Bale as FBI agent Melvin Purvis. As a teenager, Dillinger got in trouble for fighting and petty theft. As he grew up, he was working as a machinery repairman on a battleship, but deserted it and had trouble finding work later. Soon, he decided to get back into crime with his friend, an ex-convict Ed Singleton. He and his crew stole about $500,000 or $7 million adjusted for inflation. The Dillinger gang was so dangerous because of their modern usage of machine guns and bulletproof vests in the 1930s. On July 22, 1934, 31-year-old Dillinger was killed by FBI agents as he left the Biograph Theater in Chicago. Number 2, Bonnie and Clyde.
Good afternoon, this is the Barrow Gang. Now, if everybody will just take it easy, nobody will get hurt.
When it comes to robberies, Bonnie and Clyde are one of the most popular pairs of gangsters there's ever been in the United States. Warren Beatty plays the character of Clyde, whereas Faye Dunaway portrays the role of Bonnie. They were an infamous American robbery team responsible for a 21-month crime spree from 1932 to 1934. They robbed gas stations, restaurants, and small-town banks, chiefly operating in Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, and Missouri. Arguably, one of their most notable crimes was the jailbreak of Eastham Prison Farm, which took place on January 16, 1934. When they met through a friend in 1930, Bonnie was already married to another man, but she quickly realized that she only had eyes for Clyde. On the evening of May 21, 1934, a group of 6 police officers from Texas and Louisiana set up an ambush on a rural road. As soon as the couple fell into their trap, the police officers opened fire. They emptied their entire supply of ammunition into the car, firing about 130 rounds in all. Bonnie and Clyde were dead. And last but not least, at number 1 we have Casino.
My own town? You only exist out here because of me.
He's a loose cannon.
No! Stop it! You realize what you can do? You can get us all killed!
Inspired by the life of gambler and gangster Frank Lefty Rosenthal, this movie showcases their real-life experiences managing the Fremont, Hacienda, and Stardust casinos in Las Vegas for the Chicago mob back in the 1970s and 1980s. Sam Ace Rothstein, played by Robert De Niro, was based on Rosenthal, whereas Joe Pesci's Nicky Santoro was based on Anthony John Ant Spilatro. Starting in 1950, Rosenthal ran the biggest illegal bookmaking office in the U.S. for the Chicago outfit. Rosenthal was convicted of bribing a college basketball player to shave points during a game in North Carolina in 1962. It was a year after he appeared before a Senate subcommittee on gambling and organized crime. He pled the Fifth Amendment 38 times. He wouldn't even cop to being left-handed, in spite of his nickname. Despite his frequent arrests for illegal gambling and bookmaking, Rosenthal was convicted only once. And that's it for the video, guys. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel for more such content.